Επιφανείς εκπρόσωποι της διεθνούς ακαδημαϊκής και δημοσιογραφικής κοινότητας βρέθηκαν στην Αθήνα για το θερινό σχολείο υπολογιστικής δημοσιογραφίας και τεχνητής νοημοσύνης του συγχρηματοδοτούμενου από την Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση Ευρωπαϊκού Προγράμματος IQ Media Hub. Η συζήτηση άναψε στις αίθουσες της ΕΣΥΑ και του Καποδιστριακού Πανεπιστήμιου Αθηνών αναφορικά με την εισβολή της τεχνητής νοημοσύνης στον χώρο των μέσων ενημέρωσης και τις κολοσσιαίες αλλαγές που συντελούνται στον τρόπο εργασίας των δημοσιογράφων αλλά και στον τρόπο κατανάλωσης των ειδήσεων από το κοινό, τους αναγνώστες, τους ακροατές, τους τηλεθεατές. Είναι ευχή ή κατάρα αυτή η ραγδαία τα τελευταία χρόνια εξέλιξη της τεχνολογίας? Ποιες οι προκλήσεις που έχει να αντιμετωπίσει το λειτουργήμα του δημοσιογράφου στη νέα εποχή? Κινδυνεύουν οι θέσεις εργασίας να αντικατασταθούν από την τεχνητή νοημοσύνη? Το Euronews αναζήτησε από τους ειδικούς τις απαντήσεις, συνομιλώντας μαζί τους στην φιλόξενη ιστορική βιβλιοθήκη της Ενώσεως Συντακτών.
I don't think there's an easy answer. I think there's going to be some positive impacts on news production, news quality, the speed of news, and potentially the quality of investigative journalism. But also there's downsides to the technology. So journalists are going to need to learn new skills. There may be new jobs, new roles. There may be some jobs that are cut as a result of AI. So it's all very dynamic. And I think we're just kind of in the beginning phases of it. It's going to be a few years still before we really know all of the impacts of how this is going to change journalists, journalism, newsrooms, and so on.
I think if we use AI effectively, then we can use AI to do the boring parts of our job, but there are some things AI is never going to be able to do. It cannot go into a community, understand the needs of that community, empathize with other humans. These things, the AI will hopefully free up more of our time to do that, so we're not mucking around in the content management system or whatever. Remove the sort of boring things so that we can spend more of our time doing what's at the core of our job. The AI can write an article, but it cannot decide what to write. That is still something that a journalist should be doing.
For journalism, artificial intelligence is an everything problem and an everything solution. And one of the most important things for journalists to be doing now is really trying to understand what it's like to be a person, trying to just understand what's going on in the world by going around on the internet and in their lives every day and seeing all of the other things that are competing for somebody's attention.
So I think the challenges for journalists is, one, to make sure that they're keeping the human involved in the AI loop, as they say, because otherwise we'll end up with misinformation, and we have to be very careful about that. And the other challenge for journalists is learning to use AI effectively so that they can scale up what they are doing and have greater impact.
Look, artificial intelligence, of course, is not just innovation, it's full disruption, but there is also a lot of hype around AI, and prediction is extremely complicated in that field, and there is also a lot of confusion. So first, you need to always step back and have a look at it.
I don't know that it's going to be a revolution. I think I'm still thinking it's going to be an evolution of the information ecosystem. So, maybe I'll be wrong, but I think what we're seeing so far is that traditional media is evolving and it's adapting and it's strategizing of how to exist in this new world. But I think we all need to get comfortable with change, and whether when we zoom out from 30,000 feet, will it look like an evolution or revolution? Maybe it's just a matter of perspective and scale when we look at it.
Personally speaking, my mind is constantly changing on the issue of artificial intelligence, but I'm fascinated by it, and I'm not an expert in this area, but I feel really good about working with some of the greatest minds in this field at Columbia University who take everything with a good deal of healthy skepticism, but also, more importantly, are very trained in the idea of verification, of really recognizing misinformation and distortion of the truth in order to, clear away all of that clutter and really focus on truth finding.
That requires traditional journalism skills. So while the artificial intelligence exists and it can assist with surfacing data sets, the things like identifying whether the data set is accurate or not, where it comes from, who generated it, why they generated it, this is all traditional shoe leather journalism, and that's not going away.
There are varying views on how AI is used in journalistic workflow or for audience-facing content. Some obviously love it. Some think it's the most dangerous thing that has ever happened to the conference. But overall, I think the fear is kind of going down a little bit as we get more and more used to the use of AI. And there's a bit more optimism between the journalists. Journalists used to be a little bit afraid of losing their jobs, but also obviously about authenticity and credibility of content. Journalists are learning how to use AI as we move along, and the audience are also learning how to interrogate the content and to kind of be a little bit more careful about misinformation and disinformation that might creep into content from AI-generated content.
One of the things that I find hopeful is that younger people tend to be better at trying to look at multiple sources to build an understanding, right? That they've grown up in a world that has much more misinformation at their fingertips. And so one of the things that I think everybody can do is apply just that much more skepticism to things that they see and look for multiple places to try to get ultimately an answer to things.
Readers need to also become familiar with what AI can do for them and to also be skeptical. So there's a saying in journalism that if your mother says she loves you, you should check it out. And I think if AI says something that is true, you should check it out.
Τόμοι βιβλίων μπορούν πλέον να γραφτούν για την τεχνητή νοημοσύνη που έχει ήδη εισβάλει στην καθημερινή ζωή όλων. Το μεγάλο ερώτημα όμως παραμένει. Θα εξελιχθεί σε ευχή ή κατάρα?